for WandaVision, episodes 1 through 8.
Hello, I'm the Infinity Theorist Enthusiast, and WandaVision, episode 8 was so far from what we are used to, but it was great. Alright, so let's get into my ruin analysis of WandaVision, episode 8. As always, let's start with my notes. The first thing I have is that the Marvel intro is purple, kind of like the Disney Plus Black Panther one. It's a nice touch for sure. This episode confirms that Agatha was one of the witches that existed during the Salem witch trials. We even get to see her tried for being a witch by her own coven. Well, more like being tried for using dark magic, but you get it. Anyway, all of Agatha's coven has blue magic with a bit of yellowish orange, except her. Hers is distinctly purple and a bit blue. Well, her coven has blue magic, which makes sense for her to have a variant of it, which is purple. But do you know what other ingredient there is for purple if one is blue? Well, that's right, red. Some sort of scarlet sorcery. Say that 5 times fast. Some sort of scarlet sorcery may have given Wanda or Agatha her purple magic. Except, probably not, because she seems genuinely surprised when Wanda is revealed to be the Scarlet Witch. The brooch Agatha's mom is wearing in the opening scene is the same one Agatha's been wearing throughout the show. That is honestly a kind of dark backstory for that, but okay. We find out what Agatha wants from Wanda in this episode. The information on how she created Westview. Agatha also seems a bit jealous of Wanda's power because Agatha's been around for centuries and is only now doing transmutations and mind control, while all Wanda knows how to do is the really, really advanced stuff like create a false reality within another reality. In Wanda's home in Sokovia, her dad had a case full of DVDs and of sitcoms. In the case are the shows Bewitched, The Addams Family, I Love Lucy, Who's the Boss, I Dream of Jeannie, and Malcolm in the Middle. The only one of these that makes no sense is Malcolm in the Middle. Remember, we know Wanda and Pietro were 10 when their parents died, and they were born in 1989, meaning their parents would have died in 1999. Malcolm in the Middle, as I pointed out in my episode 6 video, premiered in 2000. Not to mention its DVD release wasn't until 2002. Wanda's favorite sitcom episode is Dick Van Dyke, Season 2, Episode 21. Well, actually 20, but that doesn't matter. It may look like a walnut. I did watch the episode just to see what it was about, and there are so many parallels to not just the reason she chose sitcoms for Westview, but for the actual fake storylines she has in the Hex. Here's a brief summary of the plot. Rob watches a sci-fi alien movie and has a disturbingly realistic dream that the movie was real. It definitely was Wanda's definition of shenanigan. Funny, but a little scary. The walnut part of it was that in Rob's movie, the aliens breathe water and give humans fake walnuts that, when eaten, cause their thumbs and imagination to disappear, the two things that humans would use to advance above the aliens. In Rob's dream, he's the only one aware that none of it's real, paralleling Wanda in the Hex. He's also the only person not to turn into those alien things. I don't think it's important, but yeah. Rob's dream being disturbingly realistic. Yeah, what I mean by Rob's dream being disturbingly realistic is, like, everything's tangible. It's a huge parallel to Wanda's Hex. Everything's real inside the Hex and in the dream. Yeah, and if you're wondering why I say it's disturbingly realistic, it's because Rob slept himself and felt it. It was a bit creepy, to be honest, but more funny than anything. At the end of the episode, Rob wakes up, and it turns out his wife, Laura, also had a dream about the aliens. They stay awake, frightened, in their twin beds, separated from each other. I only mention this because there's another parallel to WandaVision. In episode 2, Wanda and Vision are frightened by the tree that is hitting their window, and they, too, have twin beds, separated from each other. One theory that I can craft from watching this episode is that Wanda is accidentally opening up the multiverse to the MCU. I get this because Rob's dream seemed more like a parallel universe than a dream, and everything seemed a bit off. One more thing I got was the double vision thing. Those aliens have a second pair of eyes in the back of their heads, and one even jokes that he has 20/20/20/20 vision. But double vision, does that sound familiar? That's right, there are two visions in the MCU now, Westview Hex Vision and Original Body White Vision. Anyway, enough with what a sitcom from 58 years ago tells us about the future of a superhero show that started in January and is finishing this Friday. Let's move on to a toaster. The Stark Industries bomb that never went off didn't go off because of Wanda's magic. But the beeping is the exact same beeping of the Stark toaster from all the way back to episode 1. This episode has many great quotes, many good quotes, but two great ones. The first of which is from Agatha. The only way forward is back. This is surprisingly great advice, even though that's not what she was going for. It was more of a do this and give me your information. It was more manipulative than anything. During the Hydra flashback, a figure appeared in the Mind Stone seeming to amplify Wanda's powers. Some people say it's Wanda herself, and I think they're right to a degree. This is definitely a version of the Scarlet Witch. During the Avengers Compound flashback, Wanda says she will only feel comfort by seeing him again. Him probably meaning Pietro. I said that this episode had two great lines, and I only said the first one. Well, the second one comes from Vision. He said, "What is grief if not love persevering?" One of the best lines in the MCU, in my opinion. Along with, of course, when in doubt, get a bunch of lemons. A Coulson quote. We learn that Vision is not just an android with Infinity Stone. He actually has a soul. We know this because he actually has a sense of humor, and I'm just going to say it, anyone with a sense of humor has a soul. When Hayward introduces himself to Wanda, he introduces himself as Director Tyler Hayward, not acting director. He also shows all he wants is Wanda's help rebooting Vision by getting the technicians to rip Vision apart to trigger Wanda. Almost like he wanted to take Vision's corpse. He excuses this by saying $3 billion of vibranium shouldn't go in the ground. Except that's exactly where it came from. When Wanda goes to Vision's body, she says that she can't feel him. This is a reference to Infinity War when she said that she just felt him. Then those were also Vision's last words to Wanda. On the deed Vision gave Wanda, it says to grow old in V. The real question is, can Vision grow old? I don't know, but I guess that's not the point. When Wanda creates the Hex, it seems like an accident. She's sad that Vision's dead, and she kneels down with an explosion of scarlet magic coming out of her. What you may not know is that we've seen this before in Age of Ultron. When Pietro died, she kneeled down in grief with a burst of scarlet magic coming out of her. What that scarlet magic does in Age of Ultron is wipe out all the nearby Ultron androids. Absolutely demolishes them, and she didn't even mean to do it. After creating the Hex, Wanda creates a second Vision. I mean, she literally just magicked an Infinity Stone into existence, literally a rock with infinite power. She just created it like it was nothing. They play this off by saying she's capable of spontaneous creation, but even that is god-level power. They refer to Wanda's magic as chaos magic for the first time in the MCU. It's because this is one of the things they call our magic in the comics, along with Hex magic. They also finally call Wanda Scarlet Witch. In the comics, it's just her superhero name, like how Daisy Johnson's Quake, Tony Stark's Iron Man, Steve Rogers' Captain America, etc. But in the MCU, it seems like more of a title of power. Agatha called her a myth, suggesting that this god-level power spontaneous creation was actually part of stories for old-timey Salem witches. In the post-credit scene, Hayward and Sword reboot the original Vision, except he's a bit different. He's completely white. In the comics, White Vision is Vision's body with no soul, like a normal android. Think of Ada from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before she read the Darkhold. Seems like White Vision will be Sword's weapon against Hex Vision and Wanda. Before we get into the review, I'd like to say that I have launched a sort of YouTube podcast back on March 1st. The first episode is already out. On the podcast, I will just talk about fandom and life and stuff. It's on Mondays, so make your Mondays less boring and subscribe to I2UR, Infinity Theorist, Unscripted Rants. Link to that channel is in the description with all the other links. Hey, while you're down in the description, let me tell you about Infinity 600, a project for a world record. Would you like to take part in that? If you would, sign up. It's completely free, and you'll be in the longest video on YouTube. 600 people, 600 hours. We can do this. Full rules are in the website. Do more things in the description. My live channel and my Instagram. I will be posting video updates, stream reminders, and just fun stuff on my Instagram. And if you want some fandom fun live, subscribe to my live channel for that nearly every Saturday. There you go. Monday, I2UR, Wednesday, a normal video, and Saturday, a live stream. Now for the review. First, the title review. This episode is called Previously On. It tells us. The title it tells us we are visiting the past. It is a flashback episode. It tells us enough about the episode without revealing too much. So I'll give it a good 92 out of 100. Pretty good score. Now for the episode review. I typically don't like flashback episodes, but I feel it feels weird to see, because it feels weird to see the world before the show. But I won't let that affect my score. I think this is the best WandaVision episode so far. It's not my favorite, which is why it might get a little bit lower than episode 7. But yeah, because I'm still going with episode 7 for my favorite, for that Agatha All Along song. Episode 8 is the best so far because it gives Wanda's backstory and shows how traumatic her life actually was. Or I guess is. It is also the first MCU property to not offer a scientific explanation for magic, and I like that. Another thing that I liked, so did everyone probably, is Agatha calling Wanda the Scarlet Witch. That'll definitely boost up points. This episode also has its fair share of great quotes, the most notable of which I mentioned earlier. I'll give this episode a 98 out of 100. Not my favorite WandaVision episode, but definitely the best, and that averages out to 95 out of 100. Yeah, I think that's a great score. Alright, you can watch another video by clicking the top left, top right, bottom left corner of the screen. But before you do that, subscribe by clicking the bottom right corner of the screen and click the bell so you can be notified when I upload more videos like this. Alright, that is all I have for today. Goodbye.